Hello guys, welcome back to another new video. I am Sanil and today I am going to tell you a story, a true Pandit, and it is one of the story of Vikram and Vetaal. So, let's start. King Vikram once again pulled the dead body from the tree and began to walk toward the cremation ground. Vetaal began to say another story. Parijat Swami was the headman of a village. He considered himself as the most learned man in the whole village. Hence, every evening he would tell stories related to religion in detail. One day, while he was preaching, a man named Madan was passing by. When he saw Swami Parijat preaching, he stopped there. That day, he was discussing about Draupadi's marriage with the Pandavas in the Mahabharata. Just then, a person stood up and asked, "Gentlemen, how can you say that Draupadi was a faithful wife? Your answer is hidden in your question itself." "What will I answer?" said Parijat Swami smilingly. Listening to these conversations, Madan thought that Parijat Swami was not answering the questions correctly. He also saw that his people were satisfied with all their answers even if they were not clean. Suddenly he remembered the preaching of Veer Jyoti in his village. He went to the Swami and said, "I am Madan, a relative of Swami Veer Jyoti. If you allow, I would like to bring him here for preaching." "This is a very good thing, but is he a learned man?" asked Parijat Swami. "I don't know much about him. I only know that the king rewarded him more than once." "So," said Madan, "if you want, you can bring Pandit Veer Jyoti. Being a headman of this village, I will welcome him." Madan met Veer Jyoti and told him everything about Parijat Swami. After a few days, Madan and Swami Veer Jyoti reached the village of Parijat Swami. On reaching there, Pandit Veer Jyoti began to preach about Bhagwan Vishnu. Madan noticed something, that during the whole story, nobody asked a question. He also noticed that the difference between the teaching of both the Pandits. He said, "The silence of the people states that the people have enjoyed the story and they have no doubts or questions in their mind. No, it's not like this. People like my stories more and listen to it more carefully. Then they ask questions to clarify their doubts. Look, I will prove that now." Saying this, Parijat Swami began to say another story relating to the marriage of Sri Krishna and Rukmini. Before the story would finish, people began to ask questions. Parijat Swami gave them the wrong answers. Veer Jyoti said, "I feel that the villagers ask questions so that their headman might be happy." Madan smiled, but he did not say anything to Parijat Swami. Instead, he praised him and said, "Both of you should go to the other villages and preach." They went to a village called Namwar. A huge crowd gathered for the preaching. Pandit Veer Jyoti narrated the story about Kunti and the Pandavas in Mahabharata. After him, Parijat Swami began his story related to Lord Vishnu's incarnation as a woman. At the end, people began to ask many questions. As usual, Parijat Swami gave them the incorrect answers. So, you know that Parijat Swami is not a good man. And let's continue the story. Isn't it interesting? And if you like the story till now, subscribe. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Then let's continue. After this, they went to Jagatpuri, but the headman of that village refused for the meeting. He said, "No, Pandit Vijayoti has once preached in this village. Therefore, I don't think other preaching is indeed." Madan came forward and said, "I've brought Parijat Swami and Veer Jyoti so that people would listen to both. They will find the truth and difference between their preachings themselves. That is why I brought them here." Yes, we all know that Parijat Swami gathers a huge crowd around him. He preaches to gain praises from them. Since he is their headman, their praise him, said the headman of Jagatpuri. Madan said, "Gentleman, you're absolutely right. People don't want to listen to his story. Hence, we ask him questions out of the topic and make him happy." Vetaal finished his story and said, "Vikram, though the headman of Jagatpuri was aware of Parijat Swami's tricks of gaining praise from his villagers, why did he not allow Swami Veer Jyoti to preach in his village?" King Vikram Aditya replied, "The headman of Jagatpuri had great respect for Veer Jyoti, and this is why he refused to call him in his village again. Veer Jyoti Swami was earlier not honored in Nambar village. Hence, he was the headman of Jagatpuri, never wanted that Swami Veer Jyoti received insult in his village. He knew that Parijat Swami was clever in his words and he would fool his people. That is why he refused both the preachers to preach in his village." "Yes, Vikram, you are right, but I am going to my home on the tree as you have broken your promise." And Vetaal flew towards the tree. So guys, if you like the whole story, subscribe! If you don't subscribe, you will again get slammed in the face like the last video. Or like that. Okay? Hey! Subscribe! Don't forget to like too, or you'll get slammed in the face.